Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Hello and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we have a very special guest by the name of Kwame Terra. And Kwame is a health tech entrepreneur, a public health advocate, and founder of BEHr Health. He recently made history by walking over 2 million steps in 30 days to raise awareness for community-driven health solutions. Rooted in New Orleans and powered by purpose, Kwame's building a future where health of Black communities is informed, inspired, and well-directed. Now that's quite a impressive little intro there. Kwame, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I would just love to hear, from your point of view, tell me a little bit about this 2 million steps in 30 days.
Yeah, so, I came up with the idea several months ago. Last year, we had a few users complete 1 million steps on the app. So, for those who don't know, our company, we run a technology platform where we give users a health score, and we also run steps challenges. So, steps became a big thing within the BEHr Health community. And like I said, last year, one user did 1 million steps in May. He lost 20 pounds. He was taken
Wow.
off blood pressure medication and became a big story. And just steps again became a big thing in the community. And then another user did it in July. Two users did it in August. And another user did it in October. And so we all got to talking like, what's the world record? You think any of us?
We'll go to the
Yeah,
top, right?
yeah, why not? And the funny thing is that the Million Steps Challenge was originally supposed to be connected to a fundraising campaign for the company. So I wanted to take 1 million steps to raise $1 million for our company. And the person that I kind of asked to help me in that journey, he's the first one to do the 1 million steps. He's a doctor here in New Orleans. And it kind of lost the plot. We kind of got rid of the idea of raising money around it because he had such an incredible outcome around his 1 million steps. And then everybody that did it after that, again, also lost 20 pounds and improved their overall health. And so kind of in a sense, we kind of brought back that same original plot, but this time with a bigger goal. And so on March 27th, just before the beginning of April, I decided that I would go after the world record to launch our official campaign for the launch of BEHr Health. And so April 1st through April 30th, I was clocking 66 plus thousand steps per day,
Wow.
30 miles, 30 to 35 miles of walking per day.
It's a lot of walking.
And
What else you didn't do anything else really, right?
no, I didn't really have time. You know what I mean? It was really, one day I was on my feet for 19 hours,
Wow.
and when I was first planning it out, I didn't have that much time to plan. I was thinking, okay, I can walk around this meeting, I can walk around this work, but eventually once I realized I just literally wouldn't even have enough time in the day, I flipped my perspective to where I can work around this walk, I can work around this walk, I can
Right.
have this meeting, so on and so forth. So it took me making it the number one priority for the month to accomplish it for sure.
So in this walk, I'm sure you had some interesting experiences. Why don't you tell me just a couple of little anecdotes of this 2 million step walk,
hmm Yeah, so you obviously see a lot when
right?
you're walking. You're slowed down, you're paying attention no more. You have to pay attention so you don't get hit by cars and things. But one of the first things I noticed, and I don't know how interesting this is, but I thought it was interesting. People honk at each other all the time.
Sure.
And 9 times out of 10, when someone was doing something that caused another person to honk at them, they were waiting for a pedestrian, to walk across the intersection. And that's when
Wow.
they were stopped. And the person behind them obviously didn't know or wasn't aware that they were waiting on, whatever's going on in front of them. And I just thought that was interesting. Again, like we assume that someone is just being an idiot because they're just a terrible driver, as many of us are. But I don't know. Every time I saw somebody honk, it was because they were so the person in front of them was waiting on somebody to cross the road. So I just thought that was interesting because we always assume that people are doing things for, the wrong reason, but usually people have pretty good reason to be doing what they're doing. And before you, you know, honk at them or yell at them or critique them, maybe think about why you would be doing the same thing in the same situation. And you might stumble upon the fact that they're just trying not to hit another person walking.
Absolutely. You know the old adage, when you assume something, you make an ass out of you and me. And I can't tell you how true that generally is.
Yeah, absolutely. Another interesting thing. I don't think people realized how much walking I had to do. So, so people would come on walks with me, obviously, and then that definitely helped the journey for sure. And we'd walk for like 3 or 4 hours, and they'd be absolutely beat,
Right.
and but feeling particularly accomplished, right? They just walked 4 hours. That's little under 10,000 steps, or I mean, a little under 20,000 steps, and they're like, "Oh, so you're pretty much almost done," and I'm like,
Just
not even,
about at
not
a third. Yeah.
Yeah, not even close. And so that put things in perspective for me and then also for other people. Just the sheer effort that it took
It's
to
almost
to
like doing a marathon every day.
it
Well, more
was
than
doing a
that.
marathon every day.
Just
Yeah, I was
about. But yeah,
yeah. If I was trying to run it, I would have been burning about 5,000 calories a day, which
wow.
which is just not
Not
feasible.
tenable.
No, yeah, it wasn't. So I was burning about 2,500 calories per day on top of my, resting calories.
Wow. So when you're going along doing this, people that do endurance sports often get plagued with injuries and things like that. How were you able to manage this?
Yeah, so I mean, I do have an endurance background. So I ran cross country and track in college, and obviously all through high school. Um, so and I was training for a 10K. So the Crescent City Classic was coming up here in New Orleans, major race, biggest race of the year for the city. And I'm a part of a run club, and we had all been really training for this for the past 6 months. And so I was in good shape, right? So I had my legs under me for sure. But I wasn't sure how my body would respond to all of this walking. And so I actually stopped training once April hit and I started this challenge just to, be cautious. And honestly, the first 5 days were absolutely brutal. The tendons on the kind of inner part of my knee, both knees, I
Mhm.
mean, I couldn't flex all the way without pain and just kind of like discomfort. Um, that took about 5 days for my legs to adjust to just the sheer volume and for that pain to kind of go away. Um, Additionally, like I was obviously burning a lot of calories, and so keeping up with my fueling was a challenge for me. So I do intermittent fasting, so I typically eat
Not
one
much
real
room for that, right?
yeah, right. Yeah, that kind of went out the window in April. Um, and so there was maybe like day 3 or 4 where I would start getting sharp pains going through, my head. And so now I'm getting concerned because I'm like, okay, I want to do this attempt. I want to raise this awareness for my company, but is it worth the risk? But I just got much better about the fueling. People started bringing me food,
Nice.
and so that definitely helped. But the main thing that came up injury wise was actually about a week and a couple days out from the Crescent City Classic race. So the race was scheduled for April 19th, Saturday. And the Thursday, not the Thursday before, but 2 Thursdays before that Saturday, I was doing kind of like a cool down jog with some of my run club team members, and I couldn't push off without pain. Like I couldn't run without pain in my Achilles, like sharp pain in my Achilles. And that's not something obviously you want to really play around with at
Not at
all.
all.
And so I pulled up after like 2 laps and just got back to walking. And I could walk with no pain, but for the next 8 days, I literally could not push off at all.
Wow.
And like to the point where if I saw other people like running, I'm like, how are you doing that? Right? Like
Wow.
it had really gripped me that much. And so I had once I was already considering not running just to like not risk an injury because even though I could maybe run, I didn't want that didn't mean that something wasn't on the verge of collapse, right? But then
Right.
once this Achilles pain came up, I was pretty much like, oh, I'm not going to do it, but I still really wanted to. And the Friday before the race, we were my company, we were tabling at an expo, kind of the expo, pre-race expo for the Crescent City Classic. And there was a podiatrist there giving a talk. And so I'm walking over to talk to the podiatrist, but literally right before I get there, a news interviewer stopped me because they saw me wearing a shirt that said walking to break a world record. And so we had a chat about that. And they asked me, have I done the classic before? Am I going to be running tomorrow? I'm like, oh, I'm actually probably going to walk the whole race, because I don't want to risk injury. I'm having some pain. So after that conversation, I went over to the podiatrist and asked him. I mean, I told him what I was doing. I was like, hey, I'm walking this many steps a day. I'm already 18 days into it. I'm having this pain in my Achilles. Do you think I should even consider trying to run tomorrow? And he told me to just put a heel insert in, right? Just like a small lift
Yeah.
and make sure I'm stretching. So mind you, again, I hadn't been able to run for 8 straight days.
Wow.
I walk to the Walgreens near the expo. Put in a heel insert in, and all of a sudden I can run with no pain.
No way. Oh.
I'm so serious. And then so that night, I went on the treadmill just to kind of test if I could get to my normal pace for racing. And I got up. I started getting some pain like closer to my true race pace, so I decided I would kind of back off officially. But I ended up running that next morning at the
Nice.
Crescent City Classic. I placed 66 overall out of
Heck
16,000
yeah.
people and ran a 37:42 in the
Nice. Nice.
10K.
Right on. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about your BEHr Health. Tell me a little bit about the company and maybe really importantly, what got you into it? Like
Yeah.
where did you come from that says I'm going to start a platform like this?
hmm Yeah. So, in undergrad, my goal was to become a doctor, but early on in my academic career, I was introduced to research and kind of developed an appreciation for addressing problems from the root of the problem, not necessarily addressing the symptoms or once they've become
Yeah, that
once it's
wouldn't make you a
become a
very good
problem.
doctor.
Well, our healthcare system on some level is designed to manage and treat disease, right?
Right.
Not necessarily create health.
Exactly.
And so I'm just more passionate about that. And so, after I graduated, I would attend conferences related to science, health, social justice, and like I traveled all over the country doing this, and just kind of deciding exactly, how I wanted to spend my time here. And it wasn't until the COVID-19 pandemic that I really was like, hey, I need to come up with a solution to this. Just like everybody else, devastated by the effect it was having on their country.
All right.
And I just wanted to do something so that next pandemic or next challenge that we face, we're in better health to have a better outcome. And my first thought was, I don't think we really know how bad we're doing as it relates. Like I know we know we're not doing great. I know we need to be exercising more and eating better, but I don't think we understand the short and long-term implications of our current health status. Like I don't think many people know that you can die from a heart attack at 40 years
Oh
old,
yeah.
you know? And so I wanted to communicate that clearly to people. And so that's where I came up with the idea of a health score. I reached out to a technology company who had been working on it. We're going to health score and a technology platform to kind of communicate that to people. And so yeah, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to communicate that clearly to people, and then I also wanted a method or a system to where I could follow up with people as they fall off after being educated or excited about their health, right? So you can imagine someone goes to a major workshop and they learn all these things about their health, and now they're super excited about being
Right.
healthy. They
It's
go
like
home and
January
then
1st. Yeah.
yeah, and then 2 weeks later they're like back in their old habits, and so like that's fine, right? We still need those workshops, but how do we follow up with people that's more than like a follow-up email 3 months later? Hey, how you doing? You're still on the tips that I get, you're still working on the improving your health like we talked about. So I wanted something that people can see change on a daily basis. So the health score on our app, if you go on a run one day, your score is going to go up a few points. If you get 2 or 3 hours of sleep one night, your score is going to go down. And then based on those changes, you'll receive messaging from our automated coach, as well as be able to connect with healthcare providers and resources on what we call Bear Connect. And so really, I just wanted a one-stop shop health partner for people, one to help you understand your current health status and then be able to connect you to resources and coaching that you need to improve it.
Wow, that sounds powerful. I at first I thought it was, like one of these you know, rings and things that just kind of track things, but
Hmm.
you're actually offering solutions and resources connected to that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
how
I'll
did
also
you
say, oh, sorry.
go ahead?
I'll also say, to your point about the wearables, you know, and I've actually been thinking about it a lot lately. Um, when I came up with the idea in 2020, I immediately enrolled in a Master's of Public Health program with a concentration in health equity. And for those who don't know what public health and health equity are, public health is defined as the art and science of prolonging life. And then health equity is there to ensure that each person, no matter their, socioeconomic status or what have you, gets the best chance they can get at, prolonging their life. And so, with that health equity concentration, I learned about an approach to research and development called community-based participatory research, which basically involves you inviting the community that you aim to serve in as equal partners in the design and development of solutions that you are building for them. So instead of just developing some technology and throwing it at people and hoping that some people use it, we engage the community from the very beginning. And it's not like, hey, you should download this app because we think it'll be great for you. It's what are you currently struggling with? How are you currently trying to solve that problem that might not be working, and how can we help? Right. And then we build a relationship first and foremost with the users. And then ultimately, everyone, ideally is ultimately on the platform, and we're able to track these trends over time. Um, Part of what makes us different is that we aren't just another health app. We're a health equity platform because all of our user insights go into this aggregate report that we call the health score report. And each month we look at these trends and use that to inform, modifications to the platform as well as what kind of events and experiences we curate that promote health. And so the app is one part of the solution, but it's not the whole solution. And if if after my work was done, I look outside and I see a bunch of people obsessing over tracking their steps, counting their calories, and comparing their heart rate variability and their VO2 max, I would not be happy. Like that. That's not the to me. That's not health.
Right.
But if I look outside and I see, a group of women walking together or people having a healthy meal together, like a large community meal together, like that would make me. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
And we'll still be tracking it through the app, the improvements on health through the app because we can't improve what we aren't measuring, but we're going to start focusing more on the experience with our company.
So how did you target a community? We've got such a just a huge spectrum of people and places and variables. So how
Mhm.
did you narrow a community to target down?
Yeah, so we focus on the Black community primarily because, well, one, that's where the problem is closest to me. I'm trying to solve a specific problem, right?
Mhm.
Health disparities that exist in the Black community, not necessarily just health broadly. And when you think about the policies and the practices and the beliefs um, that created these disparities, they were very targeted, right?
Mhm.
And they were targeted and they were effective and very creative, right? And how they, created these disparities. And so, based on my education and training, the solution should be equally targeted, right? And it's not, this isn't like a political or a racial thing. This
Right.
is the problem that I'm interested in solving. And based on my understanding, the most effective way to solve the problem, again, you know, ultimately, the most effective way to solve health will be on an individual level, right? I'm not in a position where I can, do individual just yet. So I'm curating solutions informed by communities and cultures, right? Specifically the Black community right now. And so that's really why we focus on it. And the problem is great here, right? There you take New Orleans, you can find disparities in life expectancy as great as 26 years, such as
Wow.
between Lakeview and Treme here in New Orleans. So Lakeview is a predominantly white neighborhood. The average life expectancy there is 80 years, right? A little bit above the national average, but less than 3 miles away in Treme, life expectancy is 54 years.
Whoa.
And so, you know, th that delta, right? That's the urgent problem that I'm interested in solving. and it's affecting the Black community the most, particularly where I am. And so, yeah, that's why I focus on the problem. And one of the fortunate things about focusing on, I say the most dispossessed among us is that what we learn in developing solutions for these communities, the learnings can scale upward, right, to other communities who are still dealing with health challenges, but maybe not quite as many, right? But the learnings can scale up. If we, similar to, most companies, kind of went out and just found the market that was most, apt to engage with our solution, then yeah, sure, maybe we'd be able to build a successful business. But just like, you know, what happens all the time, we wouldn't like the impact and the learnings and what we designed the platform to do wouldn't necessarily scale down to people with unique experiences that are leading to the greatest disparities. And so I think, for those two reasons, it makes sense um, to focus on the community that we focus on.
So is this regional, or are you, or is this a broader scope as far as this community you're talking about?
Yeah, so right now we focus in New Orleans. So our,
Okay.
our startup is based at Xavier University of Louisiana. And uh, we're early stage company. Just our app has been in the market for just over a year now. We've gotten up to about 2,000 users here in the New Orleans area.
Nice.
But we have a technical limitation currently, right? So currently we're only limited to one data set, and this is based on our relationship with our technology partner. And so I really wanted to be able to say that our current data set is reflective of this specific community.
Got it.
Right. However, in about 5 months, we're going to be migrating over to our own independent platform.
Okay.
Where we've been able to raise some money, get some donations and such um, to make that migration. And at that point, we'll be able to stratify our data in unlimited ways, right? So by city, by state, by zip code, by partnering organization, by university. And so we'll be able to create tailored experiences, um, within different communities because each community is different, right? Just like each individual is different. We're starting at the community level. Each community is different. And so, and what I'm really excited about is being able to compare and contrast the health score reports of each community, right? So let's say the average health score in New Orleans is 515, right? But the average health score in New York might be 610. What's going on in New York that's not going on in New Orleans that we can maybe adapt to elevate the health status here.
So how does say somebody's listening to this, they're in your area, they qualify for your demographic. How does
Mm,
somebody engage this?
yeah. So I will say, as of right now, anybody anywhere can engage with the platform. We're not going to say if you're not in New Orleans, you can't you can't download the app. But so our beta app is out right now with our technology partner. So our technology partner is a company called Dacadoo. That's spelled Dacadoo. Again, Dacadoo. It's a Swiss-based company, and you can use access code Healthy Living to create your account. So when you go to the App Store, either Google Play or the App Store, download the app. It's going to ask you for an access code and type in Healthy Living, and then you will complete your profile. So name, location, height, weight, such and such. And then you'll be prompted to complete your initial health score assessment once you create your account. It's going to be about 12 questions from the 7 different categories of health that we track. So we have physical health, that's like your medical health, so blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, things like that. Your physical activity, your nutrition, your sleep, mindfulness, mental well-being, and substance use or self-control. And you're going to have a couple of questions from each of those categories in your initial assessment, and then you'll get your score. It's going to be a number between 0 and 1,000. Um, anything under 550 is considered fair or poor, and where we see the greatest risk overall for poor health outcomes. But 550 and above is considered good. 610 is considered great. Anything above 680 is considered excellent. And that's our ultimate goal, is to get everybody to that excellent health status. Um, on some level, we feel like the healthcare system keeps people or gets people to about good, or
Yeah.
tries to get people to about
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But our goal as a company is to get people to excellent health. And within each section, after you complete your initial assessment, you can complete the full assessment for each section as well. So you would go into that category and then click update your answers, and you'll complete the comprehensive assessment in that category to get the more precise score. So the more information you submit, the more precise the score will be. And then again, as you live your life, the score will change based on changes in your lifestyle. And then we ask people to update their answers once a month so that when we pull that report, we can see how people are doing, just like a monthly check-in with yourself, with your health. And yeah, and then we'll just try to improve the platform, improve the experience, and see if we can bump that average score up next month.
So you were talking about resources and different practitioners and vendors and things like that. What is the scope of that?
Yeah, so currently those resources are predominantly localized to New Orleans, right? So if you do come onto our platform right now, you'll see healthcare providers in the local New Orleans area. We do have some advertising partners that sell products and services nationwide, and so there will be promotions for that. We also do tons of challenges in the app. We just did a challenge where we gave away 2 tickets to Super Bowl 59. If you
Wow,
complete 59,000 steps in a week, you were entered in for a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
nice.
There was an additional opportunity within that challenge where if you every 1,000 steps past 59,000 in that week gave you 10 additional entries. And so one person actually did 50,000 steps a day for 10 days during that
Wow.
challenge.
One of
But,
those
but
tickets.
say that again.
He wanted those tickets.
Yeah, she did.
All right.
The bad our so that's really what we want to do. So as opposed to saying, hey, everybody, go take 10,000 steps a day for your health, let's curate a challenge that the ultimate outcome is a significant amount of people take more than 10,000 steps a day
Nice.
for their health, and also can like really discover the value of walking as a health promoting activity. Because a lot of people don't see it that way, but it is super powerful, and people again have literally walked off their medications, working with us over the past year. So yeah.
Wow. Well, Kwame, I really like what I'm hearing. It is this mirrors a lot of things that I'm working towards. Really exemplifies what this podcast is all about. And so I'm glad that we were able to find each other here. And can you give us really your elevator pitch as far as how people can reach you and all that?
Yeah, so I encourage people to follow us on Instagram. You can follow my personal page. It's Kwame Terra, KWAME TERRA. And then follow our company on BEHr Health. It's at BEHr Health. And then definitely download the app, get your health score. We're planning something big for the official launch. I'm not going to give any details because we're building it kind of in a community way, right? So you have to on some level receive a personal invitation, and you can receive a personal invitation if you're a user on the app. But we're planning something big for the official launch of BEHr Health in October. So definitely something to be a part of. Another world record attempt.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you coming out here and joining the show. And feel free if there's any updates or developments you want to come on back. I'd love to hear about your progress.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me.
You bet. This has been the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and we will see you next time.
This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.